By profession, I was a teacher, a good one. As an Amway person, distributor, I became a teacher. I still am a teacher. I teach people how to do many things. If you want to be a diamond with all your heart, right down where it hurts, it's gnawing on you, or a direct, or 1500, or a pearl, then you too must become a teacher. What do you teach? To whom do you teach? I told you I could spot a pronoun at 50 yards. To whom do you teach? You must learn to teach your people what to do. You must first be doing it yourself. You must learn to teach your people, after you teach them what to do, how to teach their people what to do. And then teach those people that you taught what to do, that taught those people how to teach those people, right on down in there. Everybody's got to know how to teach. And what do you teach? You teach lots of things. You teach people how to invite people to a meeting. You teach people how to have refreshments simply. You teach people how to put the pets away. You teach people how to put the children away. So in the beginning, you teach people how to have a good meeting. You teach people how to do an SA1. You teach people the difference between PV and BV and how to read a price list. You teach people how to keep records and how to figure sales tax and handling charges. You teach people how to fill out a personal shopper's catalog order. You teach people a little bit of knowledge about a few products. You teach people about vitamins and get them on a vitamin program. You teach them about attitude down the road. But you know something? I heard a man named Bill Britt many, many years ago say this: there is a direct proportion to one's growth and their book and tape flow. And I sort of went, okay, sure. And Dottie used to go over and get books and tapes, and I'd fuss at her, because Bill would shove them on her and she'd bring them back. And I'd have to pay for them. And I had no money. Know the feeling? But you know what? The money always, for some reason, from somewhere, came. Always. And I'm fixing to give you $1 million worth of information in the next 2 sentences. Hear me. I keep a record of people's tape flow. You know that, did you? I bet you didn't know that. Well, it's common sense. I know how many tapes go to Jim and Donna Martin every month. I know how many tapes go to Ray and Carol Youngblood. I know how many tapes the Prophets get, and the Waltons get, and the Balkans get, and the Prices get, and the Greens get, and the Dixons get, and all those other people that get their tapes through me directly. And I sit down and look at it from month to month, and I analyze it. And you know what? There's the strangest thing going on. The folks that are moving the most tapes seem to be having the fastest, most growth. And I figured it out again. Bill Britt was right. Now, how does one create a book and tape flow in an organization? It's vital to learn that. As it is vital to learn how to contact people, how to do one-on-ones, how to show the plan, how to have the guts to just go do it, as it is to sell products. It's vital, as it is to learn to build depth. It's vital to learn to build depth in an organization. Now, you don't have to listen to me, and you don't have to take heed, and you don't have to do nothing. It's your business. You're the boss. Nobody owns you. Just giving you a little piece of advice. But in my opinion, if you want to be successful at any level, especially diamond, listen to the tapes yourself. Okay? All of them. All of them. And you know when you hear a tape? It's when you hear it 6 times at least and take notes on it. When you take notes on it, you hear it. Now, how many tapes in your Amway career have you really heard? Now, only you can answer that. It's the most amazing thing. You get into business and you hear Kay Fletcher. And you laugh a lot. The dude's out on the curb, man, going, it's here, stop, hey, come here, this is where it's at. And everybody laughs. It's funny. It relates to most everybody. Stay in this business 2 years and go back and listen to Kay Fletcher. And listen at the things that you missed. It's just like I said earlier. You come to these functions and you go, I don't know how they do it. That one was better. They just keep on getting better. It's that you have grown more and you're ready to hear more, and you do hear more. I used to think Dex was relatively boring. Bill would get Dex in to speak at a reunion, and I had a pearl pin on or something. I'd sit in the back and go, oh, is he ever going to finish? Because Dex go all night long. I've seen Dex on the stool for 2 days not move. I don't know how he does it. That man's got the biggest bladder in the world, apparently. But you see, I listen to Dexter today, and I understand everything he says. Man, it just, I could listen to Dexter talk today for a week because I know where he's coming from, and I'm ready, and I'm there. Okay, well, some of y'all aren't ready for that. Some of y'all aren't even ready for Bill. See, Bill will come in here tomorrow night, and he's going to put it to you. And some of you won't hear a lot that he says, but you listen to him 2 years from now, and you realize you just realize how intelligent he's become. But see, the man's a genius. He's the best. Ain't no better. And I'll have to admit, I'm totally prejudiced. He's the best. Ain't no better. And you see, I watched him and I researched him for years. But I would follow him. And y'all need to start following some of the big pins, the people that are growing, and go to the meetings and watch them show the plan. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's Ron Duvall. Ron Duvall's going to Emerald. If you're in his group, you ought to go watch him show the plan. You might learn a new joke. If nothing else, you might learn a new joke. You might learn something different, a different angle or something. I don't care if it's Jim Maynard or, I can't start calling names. I don't care who it is, but you ought to go see a bigger pin show the plan. And when the meeting's over and you go eat Oreos and tater chips, you ought to go in the kitchen back up against the counter and be quiet and listen and watch and study. Because somebody's going to say, brand new person, walk up to him and go, somebody's got to sell this stuff. And then you listen to what he answers. And he comes up and this dude goes, this is a pyramid, ain't it? Or I ain't got time. Or my wife won't let me, or my boss won't let me, or all this stuff. And listen. And you learn how to relate to people, how to answer people. That's something you have to learn. You have to learn how to teach it to other people. The only difference, you know why the pen's bigger? The pen is a direct comparison to your ability to relate to other people. It has a whole lot to do with the number of times you draw circles, I agree. Without drawing circles, let's face it, won't hardly work. It's sort of like having no products. Well, we got products and we got circles, and most everybody draws them some more than others, but that ain't all it is to it. It's learning to relate to other people. And the more you learn to relate, the bigger the pen. I've been shown the plan. And I've been standing up for at least a whole hour, lifting that heavy magic marker. And I go back in the living room or wherever there ain't nobody, usually, and sit down and eat my cookie. And most of them in there don't even know who I are. They don't even care who I are. I ain't told them I are no diamond. I never tell nobody I are a diamond when I show the plan. I'm just a short, fat, ignorant guy. I ain't too swayed. Do the plan terrible, drop the eraser. I do the blue. I use blue markers. I like blue markers. Blue markers classy. They show up better than black. You can use black if you want to, but I use blue, and I get to racing with my hand. You know, I ain't got time to do it. And I get it on my finger, and I act like I don't know it, and during the night, I sweat. Y'all probably do that. And I go, and I get blue on here, see? I do. I drop the eraser and bend over and grunt and groan. I can bend over that low with no problems if I hadn't eaten in 6 days. Forget the refund, tell them I got to learn this thing. Just I'm a babbling idiot. See, I've learned how not to do the plan so good. Some of y'all worry about doing it right. I constantly strive not to do it so good. Because the worse I do it, the more I get in. Because they relate. It's part of the relating process. And I want to tell you something. This is important. Some of y'all never seen me do the plan. Y'all seen me do my rut. Now, y'all listen to me. This is important. I know people that do ruts and never put themselves in the plan. It's like, you got a job, y'all get up at 6:30, y'all go over here. Now, hold on a minute. Do y'all know when Mickey Hamlett does a plan that Mickey Hamlett absolutely, totally demeans himself as he does that plan? I chopped the legs out from under this little body. I tell him I was broke, that I had an eat-up car, that we had sheets on the windows, that I was stupid, that my boss put me down, and why. I let them laugh at me, brother. I can afford to let people laugh at me. You put yourself in that rut, and you chop yourself to pieces, and you tell it like it is. If you divorced your wife, and you got remarried, then you tell it. Why hide it? If you used to fuss and fight, tell it. If you used to drink and stay drunk a lot, tell it. If you used to smoke a little marijuana, tell it. Tell it. What's to be ashamed of? You're in now. You have taken the giant step over the line of average. You're going to be a somebody. You're going diamond. You're going direct. You are the greatest bunch of people in the world. You are an Amway person. What's to the bit? Nothing. That's the past. Use it. Learn to use your faults and your wrongdoings and your fallacies in your favor. Why do you think Dexter Yeager stands up and tells people he's a little short, fat guy? Because that means all the little short, fat guys in the world looking at it get excited, going, if he did it, I can do it. Put yourself in the rut. Tear yourself apart. Tear your life apart. Use your life. Don't point to them and they. Put you in it. And they'll laugh because the truth's funny. But I'm in the living room and I'm eating my cookie. And there ain't nobody in there because I'm just a guy. Yeah, ain't nobody. And I see somebody pass by, somebody stand over there. It don't matter, man or woman. It don't matter. Maybe I've never seen them before that night. And I go, and they come in there and I go, sit down, right here. And I go, anything, it don't matter. Been a hot day, eat it. What you do? You do show enough? Really, do you? Got any kids? Blow it, you started when you was 12. What about y'all live? And I just talk. Don't talk about nothing, no Amway or nothing. I just talk. I just start talking to him. And after a while, they look in there, they've been eating their cookies, and they go, he's talking. He's saying something. And the people in the business, if they're smart, they all go, and all the new ones they brought all of a sudden stand in the kitchen together, and they don't know what to do. And they're lost, and they come creeping in the living room like they're scared. But I get them in, and they're standing there listening, and after a while, they sit down. And they were going home. They had this sitter and everything, and I keep talking, and they just stay. And their eyes get bigger, and I get a lot of people right there. That's where I get the people. That's where I sponsor them every time. You thought it was with the circles, didn't you? It's after the meeting. The meeting after the meeting after the meeting is where I get them. And when I see that they're going to stay and everybody's relaxed, you think I get up on my pedestal and go, got a list of tapes, got a list of tapes, got a list of tapes, you ain't listening to tapes, you ain't going to go, y'all need to get... No, I don't build my business that way. I just do that to big pins that ain't growing. I just kick them around and I meet them up. But I'm just sitting in there going, y'all know, I've been talking about everything, and all of a sudden I'll go, I heard this great tape the other day, and it's brand new. It's by my dentist. It's called William Martin. He's got this practice over in Oxford, North Carolina. 17 years he practiced. And he made this tape, and y'all ought to hear it, because he's talking about what y'all probably want to do. It's called How to Go Direct. And by the way, that tape will be available next week. And everybody in this business ought to hear it. It are good. And I go into talking about what he talks about. Or I might say, I heard this thing the other day about this military tape. I got a guy now in the military, and he's sitting over there, and he's a lieutenant commander, and he's been on the Nimitz for 9 months, and his wife's been, and he ain't sure he wants it, and I know that, and I go, there's this military tape I heard, he didn't believe it. Oh, he's got this air traffic controller on that. And you got to be a dummy to be an air traffic controller, right? You get ulcers and everything, and fly planes, and they cross and criss, and he all of a sudden he wants to hear the tape. And the guy goes, well, how do you do distance? If you got one in California, how do you get him products? And he haven't got him sponsored yet. And I go, well, listen to Jack Reed. He talks about distance sponsoring. You see, every question you ever been asked is an answer on the tape. So I talk about tapes every night, everywhere I go. Plus, I give new tapes to everybody that's new in the room and develop an appetite for the tapes. I give them K. Fletcher and something else that's good, like the professional tape. But what is it? Terra, something, whatever it is. Or if he's a teacher, I'll give him a good teacher tape. Mickey Hamlett. If he's in the military, I'll give him the military tape. Y'all ought to get you an attaché case from Personal Shopper's catalog. Little black key thing with red lining there, and it holds 40 or so cassette tapes. And you put all of them in there. Like you put a Paul Harvey and a military tape and an athletic tape and a veterinarian tape and a PhD tape and a mechanic tape and a dump truck driver tape. And then the guy goes, I like Paul Harvey. And you go, listen to this. That's common sense. And if you can't get them all in that one, get another one. Do little teeny things. And bring them inside the meeting with you. Makes you look suave. 2 attaché cases. They don't know what's in them. Keep the tapes with you. And I talk about books. I read The Greatest Book in the World and the other day. And I loved it. I may have read it like a year ago or 5 years ago, but I read this Greatest Miracle in the World the other day. Alden Mandino, editor and creator of Success Unlimited, and it's about this rag picker, and if you read it, you'll learn about what a rag picker is. It's a tall man overcoat, and in Chicago, and it's snowing, and a parking lot, and a red geranium. You won't believe the red geranium and what you figure out what it symbolizes, and I'm the type that can't put, I like to read long, but I picked this book, I couldn't put it down. I just read the whole thing. That's not like me. I just couldn't put it down. And tears came down. You wouldn't believe. And a lot of y'all are looking for an answer to a religious thing. And you probably, if you read it, might even find an answer. Because you might even wonder if that old man was God. And next week, 14 cases. Greatest miracle in the world. Gone. Just talk about a product. Whisker Whiz is one of our biggest movers down at my house. We move case after case after case after case. Why? Because every night I show the plan, I play with Whisker Whiz because they're funny. And I get a guy up in Columbia to open up, and I couldn't find me none to put it in, and he had big hands, and I just piled it up in his hands. The dummy standing there, you ought to see it. But he's an Amway person, big in the business, just standing there, piled up, shaking, laughing. I told him to quit laughing, and, you know, it's funny. And another reason I move a lot of Whisker Whiz is because I use up everybody's can every night that they let me have. Well, you see, some things are just common sense. But if you talk about things, those things seem to move. Why is our volume vitamin? Did you hear that? That was backwards. Why is our vitamin volume so big? Because we talk vitamins a lot. We used to didn't have any vitamin flow now, or movement of products, and we didn't have any vitamin knowledge. Now we have a lot of vitamin knowledge. Everybody ought to hear B1, Dr. Solomon, and C57, Neutralizing Nutrition. And we got a book called Nutrition, something on nutrition. What's the name of the book? Huh? Know Your Nutrition. And you ought to get some whatever knowledge and then talk about them in the living room. But you talk about books, you talk about tapes, you talk about vitamins, you talk about things. That's how you develop a book in tape flow, and you do it every night. And you put a tape player on your bedside table, it shuts off automatically, and after you read every night, you put a tape in it, and you turn it on, and you listen to it, and you never hear it shut off, and the next 3 days you're walking around and something you open your mouth, something comes out, you don't know where it came from. It came from a tape. And I know what I'm talking about. I really do, because as a school teacher, the 3rd year in particular, I grew to hate it. I wanted out. I didn't like it no more. And I sloughed off a lot. I was still a good teacher, but I kind of wanted to get fired because I didn't really need to be there. We was making good money in this soap thing, and I put them dudes writing a theme. You know, what a daffodil season spring or something. And they write a theme, and I'd pull a little drawer on the bottom of their desk and just push the little button, run the wire up my shirt, put the little earphone in there, and listen to the tape while they wrote the theme. And I'd take my little notebook. I had me a composition book, and I'd just take notes on it. And, you know, I got 45 composition notebooks at home full of notes on tapes that I've just... When you write something down, you hear it, okay? And I know what I'm talking about. You want to be a diamond? Learn how to teach. Do it yourself first. Set the example. Guarantee you it'll work for you. Does it make any sense? Yeah. Okay. Because we want you to be there. We want you to be there. And the greatest ingredient of all is the whole thing of this weekend. It's a simple little theme. It's a 4-letter little word called love. That's the greatest ingredient in the world of Amway. You learn to love. You learn to relate. You love people whether they're doing it right or wrong. You love people because they're God's children and God made them. You love them whether black or white, tall, skinny, ugly, short, live in Louisiana or Buffalo, New York. It makes no difference. You love them because they're people. And you have to learn that. And you have to learn to teach love. And the best way to teach love is by loving them yourself. And they, in turn, will go and love others. I promise you that. Okay, fruit's on the tree, time will tell. But I'll tell you what, I ain't going home and do nothing, because I ain't never done nothing and I don't relate to it and I'm not happy doing nothing. 3 or 4 days of doing nothing and I get real miserable. Because you see, I'm my happiest when I have Amway people around me. I'm at my happiest when I'm drawing circles at night. Circles are my therapy. Circles to me are a challenge. People to me are a challenge. I'm glad they don't all get in. Somebody's got to fix my car, so there's got to always be mechanics. Somebody's got to direct traffic, so there's got to always be policemen. Somebody's got to handle my legal work, so there's always going to be attorneys. And if they all got in, it wouldn't be a challenge. And I love it when they're hard heads. I love it when they're nuts. I love it when they're negative, because I like to work on them. I like to enjoy them. I like to have a good time with them. I love people. I love to watch them. I love to throw things at them. I love to shock them. I like to see how they react. I like to see them change. You see, 8 years ago, I didn't have the courage to stand up in front of a great old big guy and look at him in the eye and say, "You're just a loser." Didn't think he could do it anyway. See, people used to laugh at me, and that used to bother me. But I'm going to tell you what, ain't hardly nobody laughs at Mickey Hamlett no more. And they won't laugh at you either if you believe this thing, and anybody will listen to you. If you believe this thing and you've got some conviction about it and you've got it down in your heart, and that's what you came here this weekend looking for, and I bet you found it, a lot of you. But don't take all your excitement back and blow them out with too much excitement now. You see, I'll go back home, and when I show the plan again, I'll show it as always. Same jokes, hanging loose, having a good time, different every night, never tamper with the market plan. We don't call it a refund anymore, by the way. It's a performance bonus. It starts at $100 at 3%, and you're paid based on your performance. We don't call the third wheel making money a retirement thing anymore, because it isn't. It's 3% bonus money based on what you have done for other people. Every night I throw in the fact that the national average is $130 a month over a 20-year period on Blinky, the Amway computer. And we're drawing $100 circles, and that makes us look super terrific good, our plan. That the national average is above what we're doing. And you see, you don't have to go out and look for any way to make it grow faster. You don't have to look for anything different. We've got the best proven way to build this business, and all you have to do is duplicate it. All you have to do is put a smile on your face. All you have to do is relate. All you have to do is learn to be a teacher. I talked Friday night about that a little bit. But you know what gets you there? Persistence gets you there. Hard work. I hope you aren't afraid of a little hard work. When I go out to the airport here at Atlanta and I get on a jet, be whatever kind it might be an Eastern L-1011, a wide jumbo. And they usually taxi out to what I refer to as the North 40. It's a long ways from the terminal. It's that runway way out yonder. He just rolls along and gets out there finally, and he finally gets clearance. He might be lined up behind 18 planes, but he finally gets his runway and he gets his clearance. And he lines that thing up, pointing down the middle of that runway, and I'm going to tell you what, that pilot has got a goal. And he's pointing right at it, and he better not miss. If he messes up, not only are a lot of other people in trouble, he's in trouble. And I'm telling you, he takes his goal very seriously. He concentrates. I'll bet you he never takes his eye off his goal. And they tell him it's all clear. And can you see him looking around out of the windows, make sure? You reckon it's all clear? No, he can't see a lot. He takes it on total faith that that controller knows what he's talking about. It's all clear. And he gives it everything it's got. They put the brakes on, open up all 4 jet engines, wide open. You can hear them shaking the plane, and it builds up, and he lets the brakes off. Phew, gone. And about halfway down the runway, he's got to make another commitment to fly a stop. Because when you get up to a certain speed and you're halfway down that runway, if you don't start stopping at that point, there's no telling where you might stop. So he's doing a lot of checking real quick. Anything goes wrong, any lights come on, any bells, any sirens, tire blows out, jet engine falls off, he better make a decision real quick. But when he gets to that point, if it's still go, baby, he's gone. He is totally committed to fly. And if he don't fly, he gonna mess up a bunch. And he flies, and he climbs. You ever seen him climb right straight up? Man, my briefcase laying down in forward. No, it's back yonder in the bathroom. I mean, he's climbing. He's gone. 37,000. He won't even stop climbing until he gets there. Doesn't even think about it. Takes a lot of fuel. When he gets up to 37,000, he just levels off, drops back the throttles, probably got a tailwind, gonna get him in there early, puts on an automatic cruise control, automatic pilot, and pushes a little button for the stewardess to bring him up his coffee. And he just sits there and flies, baby, and it does it all by itself. Everything just cool, you know. Now that's how you are supposed to build an Amway business. That's how you build it fast, hard and fast. You give it all you got in the beginning, 7 nights a week. If you're new, you give it 3 one-on-ones a night till you get the width to build the depth. And then you build the depth fast, looking for a leader on top of a leader, backed up by a leader, backed up by a leader. You know, when you have an organization that's relatively solid, when an emerald is in it, and you pump it and you pump it and you pump it. And on the way up to 37,000 feet, you break a direct to 2 or 3 or 4. And when you hit 37,000 feet, you qualify for diamond, and you just sort of reach over here and put the automatic pilot on and ask them to bring you coffee. Then you can go to the Caribbean for a week and come back and it's bigger. Or you can take a cruise on the Southwood that Amway pays for and you know it's growing while you're gone. Or you can get sick and you not draw a circle for 2 months and you have the biggest volume in those 2 months that you've had in 8 years because you got it up to 37,000 feet. And that's the beauty of this thing. But you see, I asked for my coffee, but I didn't take time to put the sugar in it and stir it. I made her do it because I was still flying. And that's why I'm where I am today. That's why we have 12 instead of 6, and we're looking for 16, and we already got them. It's just a matter of time. I like being in the parade, but I like up front better because the view's a whole lot better. You can see. And you see a lot of you guys and girls, you taxi out there, and you're going to fly, and you got this goal, but there's this other little, the scenery down through, right over here beside the runway, there's something beautiful you got to stop and look at. So you just taxi down the runway. You got to go, you're going to be a diamond. You're going to get to 37,000 feet, right? You're going to fly, but you just get, that's a long runway. You know, and you do this and you do that, and you take your off, you go, and you taxi. And about 4 feet from the end of the runway, you get all churned up. You came to a reunion or something, and you give it full throttle. See, there's nothing solid about slow. Some of you want to build it slow and solid. There's nothing solid about slow. The only way I relate to building this business is taking a little spark, and when you find a spark, which is a light in somebody's eyes, and you know they're going to do it, and you know they want it, you take 5 gallons of gasoline and pour in a spark and create an explosion and back up and watch. See, I love to throw the advice out to other people, and nobody has to take it, and then back up and see who's going to follow it. The hardest thing for me to learn in this business was not to overhelp people. And I'd draw circles for everybody and anybody and go, yeah, I will, sure I can, okay? And it took me a long time to understand why Bill Britt never drew but 2 sets of circles for me, and it was hard for me to find him. It took me a long time to understand that was the best thing he could do for me. Because I had a lot of growing to do, and I had a lot of falling on my face to do, and I had a lot of things to go through, and he had to let me grow. He had to let me do it the hard way. You want to be a direct? Then draw circles 5, 7 nights a week, persistently and consistently. Get 5 guys in your organization in depth or across the board somewhere drawing circles 3 nights a week. And start moving 10 kits a week and you'll be a direct. Where you want to be one or not, you're going. There are the signs. The idea is for you not to do it all, is to get people up doing it for themselves. Because it makes a man out of a man and it makes a woman out of a woman. And as long as somebody else is doing your business for you, it's not your business. So you take the board and the easel and you get up on your feet and you do it yourself. And if you're scared to do it yourself on the board and easel, you sit down at a kitchen table with a pad and a pencil and say, sit down here, I want to show you something real cute. And you whip through it consistently and persistently. And you'll get there. Make any sense? You know what gets you there? Hard work. Hard work. But I've never minded hard work. I mean, basically, I'm lazy. I was born lazy, had a relapse. I don't like to work. That's why I built this thing. I like to lay by the pool. You quit, go back to what? You really want that job till you're 65? If you're sitting in here broke, if you don't change something, you'll stay broke. And now you have an answer. Now you have a way. You've got the American way, grassroots free enterprise, the Amway way, hope. Hope to American people. And we do have a responsibility to go spread it. And I can't make you do it. I won't hold your hand and lead you out of the door. But I tell you what I can do. I can control me. And that's all I've ever done. And I'll go do it. And that's all I ask of you. You go do it for yourself. And you know what? If you go do it, other people will follow you and do it too. Set the example. You be what you want other people to be. We set the examples for our children, don't we? Don't we? Our kids come out basically what we make of them. Basically. Isn't that true? And we constantly set an example for our children. Most people tend not to use four-letter words in front of their children, or tend to not use them at all. Or drink alcohol, or anything that you just, not in front of your kids. You catch your kids doing something they shouldn't do, you correct them. Then you set the example for your Amway people. You do it. You do more than you would ever expect them to do. I'd never ask anybody to give this business what I've given it. But you give it what you will, and you give it what you want. But I'll promise you something. Whatever you give it is what you're going to get back. See, I know you've got dreams. And I know you know it works. I know you really believe it. I'm not sure all of you believe it for yourself yet. But I know there are a lot of you in here that really want a Mercedes. I know there are a lot of you in here that would love to have a Cadillac or some type of sports car. I know that there are a lot of women in here that would love to have a maid. I know that there are a lot of women in here that would love to quit their jobs. I know that there are a lot of guys in here that would like to quit their jobs. I know a lot of you would like to have a nice boat. A lot of you would like to own a brand new piano. A lot of you would like to have lots of beautiful, beautiful clothes, such as meats. A lot of you would love to have big diamond rings and necklaces and earrings. A lot of you would love to have a gorgeous, beautiful mansion to live in. Some of you would like to own your own limousine. Some of you would like to own a farm. Some of you would like to give a lot of money away to charities and churches. See, I know you've got the dreams. And I stand before you and I tell you that you can have them. That you can have anything your heart desires. And I too agree with Bill Britt. God wants you to have it. And you have the ability. and you have the vehicle, and you have the tool, and you have the upline, and you have the process. You draw circles 2 nights a week, it'll take you 2 years to go direct. Cost you $30,000, $40,000 down the tube. Draw them 3 nights a week, take you a little less time. Draw them 5 nights a week, you could probably make it in a year to 6 months. 7 nights a week, 90 days. I don't care who you are, if you make the decision. If you make the decision. Now, it boils down to a simple little thing. I made the decision years ago. A lot of other people in this room right now made the decision years ago. Have you made a decision? What do you want to do? What are you going to do? And like I say, time will tell, won't it? And I know the answer. You're going to do it. You're going to do it, and you're going to do it in a big way. You're going to do it like never before. You're looking at the best time ever in the history of Amway to build this business. You know what you're going to see? You're going to see an Amway explosion. Where is it going to be in 5 years? Where are you going to be in 5 years? Now, all you've got to do is do what it takes. And you're going to get back exactly what you give it. No more and no less. In direct proportion to the number of people you help and the number of circles you draw.